On this episode, while everyone is on Christmas vacation, it's been non-stop 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to finish Project Black Ice. There truly is no rest for the wicked, but I have my doubts if we're going to finish this car. I'm going to show you where we're at. Let's go. What's going on, guys? We are in the assembly shop with the 59 El Camino Project Black Ice. We have 3 weeks left to finish the car, and we don't really have the right update video that we wanted to drop. So we thought we'd take the time and just update you guys on exactly what's happening 3 weeks prior to this build being completed. As you can see, the front end is together. We've got the fenders and the doors aligned. The hood has also been aligned, but it's back in the paint shop as Brandon is spraying 3 more coats of clear on it. So we have that deep look. A few things that I thought I'd talk about with you, the hurdles that we've been dealing with. When at the time of shooting this video, it is January 2nd, 2025. So for the last 2 weeks, a lot of companies have been closed. They're on vacation, they're celebrating the holidays, while we have been here working and pushing to finish the car for Grand National and of course ending up at SEMA 2025. The biggest hurdle thus far in this whole build has been the wheels. So we are working with EVOD Industries, the owner Sean, incredible company, incredible guy. However, we gave him a deadline of 8 weeks. And at the time, he told me that was almost impossible. It's normally a 10 to 12 week build time for custom wheels. We gave him 8 weeks, so I just got back from a meeting with him. He's down in the San Diego area, and he is not as optimistic as I am. He's a little bit stressed to try to get this done. What's happening on these wheels, they're a 3-piece wheel, so they've got an outer lip, they've got a machined center, and then an inner lip, or an inner hoop. He doesn't manufacture the hoops. That's no wheel designer manufactures the hoops. That's kind of a whole separate entity where wheel companies buy the hoops or the rings. So we're unable to get a couple of the offsets that we need, which kind of changes things up a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but he has to kind of machine the centers differently because we're limited on the offsets. So if you haven't followed this build, what we're doing on the wheel is a 19-inch by 9-inch up front and a 20-inch by 10.5 in the rear. The wheel design is going to be similar to a 1959 Impala hubcap. So we're doing a wheel that's paying homage to the original design of the cap. I think on a larger wheel, it's going to look spectacular. We've got a lower profile tire with a red line stripe all the way around. It's 3/8 of an inch thick. So the wheel tire combo is, I think, going to look stunning. It's a full polish wheel. It's just that we have to get them, right? We need them. So it looks like now we're going to get the wheels 2 days before the show, which is crazy. I've never been this under pressure. This is, for the record, the fastest car to this caliber that I've ever built. This is turning out to be just under it'll be a 10-month build with probably one of the worst El Camino bodies in history. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this is the worst one that we've ever started with. So wheels, okay, updated you on that. That's stressful. Sean at EVOD, couldn't thank him more for what he's trying to do for us. I hope it comes through. If you guys are out there, think positive thoughts for us, because we can use all the positive energy that we can get. Engine compartment is basically everything is black, right? This car, the owner really wanted everything to be black. So the engine compartment, that's what we're doing. So everything that we receive in polished, we send it out, we have it coated. A lot of the nuts and bolts will end up coating with a Cerakote in black. This is the overflow for the radiator. The radiator has come in over the holidays. It's jet black. The intake, the valve covers, all of that stuff is black. The engine, though, the actual heartbeat of the engine and the transmission, we did do in a gunmetal gray, which matches the top of the A-arms. But as we receive parts and they're either high polished or stainless, we're sending all those components out to get them coated in black. So I'm happy with how the engine compartment's coming out. The other thing that we've been working on for the past 4 days is the wiring. You guys can see right here, we've got a couple wiring looms, and this is the front harness, this is the engine harness, and then also we have the other engine harness that's here. These all get coated with a wiring sheathing, we call it, or a wiring a coating, like a nylon wire sheathing that goes around it. So it'll be real sanitary and clean. So that's on the to-do list as well. So the dash and the interior have already been wired, but now we're to the front clip, and then we got to work on the tail end of the car. Wiring is pretty straightforward on this build. We're using painless wiring products for the LS conversion, and also just a generic 21 circuit painless wiring harness for the main loom in the vehicle. So if you guys are at home kind of wanting to figure out what wiring harness is being used, it's very simple. It's the painless 21 circuit. You guys can buy this stuff all through Summit. As we kind of walk around, I'll point things out that we use that might help you guys on a home build. Let's see, what else? I was going to talk about our chrome plating. So we are working with a local company who's been doing all of our chroming for the last 10 years or so. But as you can see, this isn't chrome, this is copper. So we still have a lot of parts that need to be chromed that are in the raw copper, and we're still test fitting. So this is the little turn signal bezel up front. And I still have to fit all this, and it's been blocked. Mr. Lee's blocked it all, but we got to just do the final fit and finish and send this stuff out to chrome. So we haven't actually got any chrome back yet for the car, including bumpers or anything, and we have 3 weeks to go, so that's a little bit stressful. Battery is in place. The steering column I finished a few days ago. That's completely rebuilt, and man, that is time consuming to rebuild one of these columns. We're talking like 6 hours to rebuild everything, to get all new bearings and seals and turn signal switches and assemble it all. It's finicky, and then I had to modify the steering shaft to accept a double D steering rod, and there's just little things like you wouldn't think steering column rebuild 6 hours, but it's what it takes. We've got these really trick hinges from Eddy Motorsports. They're a billet hinge designed for this Impala El Camino, and they use a gas shock, and they're really slick. I highly recommend these. If you go online, you'll read reviews how these don't fit. People have to hog the holes. In my experience, you only have to do that if you really don't know how to install these and align them, right? Guys think like, oh, just make the hole bigger and make it align, but these went on really seamlessly, and they look great. So again, we have that black and polished look going on. Let's see, what else did I want to show you? Let's move towards the interior. Our upholstery guy was here the other day, so let's walk over here and I'll show you what's going on with this. So Alfredo from Al's Garage has done a lot of the overhauling cars, the TV show Overhauling, and he's the one that's doing this car for us as well. He's got a different process, a little bit different process on the door panels and how he fabricates these. He's using 1/8" plywood, and he installs the door panel once he fits it to the perimeter of the door. He puts a couple screws in place, and then he drills new holes for these clips. Now he uses a lot of clips. This is pretty crazy, but it's also very common when you get up to this level of a build for the upholstery. One of the worst things, in my opinion, is a classic car that has door panels that are like loose or coming off. I see it all the time. So this is the way to avoid that. Now he also takes it one step further, and when we finish the fitment here, he's going to take a little 1x1 fiberglass and resin, and he'll actually fiberglass over these clips so they stay in place, and then he sands them almost smooth, and then with his little 1/8" foam and the leather, you'll never see any of that. Everything disappears, and it's really trick. And then these door panels will last a lifetime. Now in my design for this door panel, I really wanted to have a steel painted door top, kind of like how the 58 Chevrolet Impala is. 59 in the El Camino, they actually wrap the leather over the top. So since we have a red door panel but a black dash, we needed that two-tone. So we've got Nigel fabricating door tops, and it runs all the way across and kind of tapers down towards the rear, and that'll get painted, right? So we've got to fabricate those, fit them, and paint them in the next 2 weeks so we can cut them and buff them and install them before the show. Kick panels are also done. He does use cardboard for these, waterproof door panel cardboard. And then in the rear panel here, we've got, again, the same method, which is the 1/8" plywood. Now, one thing Al and I talked about for the back panel of this El Camino, we're going to build a 1/4" piece of wood that's going to get upholstered in leather. And then right here in this area, we will install the 6x9 speakers. And that will give a great sound. It'll actually almost have kind of this speaker box effect back here. Of course, everything is coated in Dynamat. So we'll put the 2 speakers, one on each side, right behind the driver and passenger, and then up towards the front dash, we are using the original speaker that's in the center of the dash. Let's see. A lot of completion on the dash itself. We still have some trim that is a little divider for the red and the black. That's sent out at the Chrome shop. There's a Chevrolet emblem that goes right here. It's out at Chrome. Glove box is going to be a modification because we have the air conditioning back behind the glove box. So we have to shorten the depth of the glove box itself. Not the end of the world, but it's just another step. We are hiding the air conditioning and heater controls inside of the original ashtray fold down. So when you fold this down, you'll have your controls, pop it back up, easy and done. Moving up to the stereo. This is from, what is the company? Retro Sound. We've used these in the past. They're very common. I'm sure you've heard of them before, but these are, it's a great option which gives you Bluetooth, connects to your phone, and you can run your music. So that's this is a nightmare to install, by the way. This is probably 4 or 5 hours to get this to fit. I tinkered with this just before the holidays, before Christmas. And on initial mock-up, these buttons were crazy angled downward. It was horrible. So a lot of modification to get it to look how it does, but total nightmare. We were able to source original style ignition switch, headlight, and also wiper switch from Classic Industries, which is right down the street. Shout out to Classic Industries. They've been a huge help for us on this build. And then one of the prized and one of my favorite sections here is the dashboard. The gauge cluster in a 59 is so iconic, and to me, one of the best gauge clusters ever. I don't know if it's automotive or if it's outer space UFO style gauges. They are just so futuristic. Even 65, 70 years later, they're futuristic. I love them. So the gauges themselves are updated from Classic Instruments, but they are all in the original location and the original configuration and styling of them. So steering column below that. One of the other things I wanted to point out too, if this comes across on camera, is when we decided to do the two-tone interior, I had seen a few photos of a two-toned 59. This isn't my idea, I can't take credit for it, but I love the way it turned out. So the dash, the lower dash being red, it actually continues right through the steering column and gauge cluster, which are black. And so when you're sitting in here, it looks as if the column and the gauge is almost Frenched around the dash. And if the dash was all black or one color, you wouldn't really get that effect. But being two color, I love how it's like this Frenched in look. And we're kind of continuing that theme into the door panels. So as that wraps around with the color and the two-tone, that'll all kind of have that same like black Frenched over red look. So I'm kind of excited to see this all unfold. But yeah, other than that, the ECU is in, all the underdash wiring is done, and I feel like I'm just rambling. So this is where we're at. I don't know if you can really understand the level of stress, where we all kind of are, myself and everyone on this project. It's no easy task to build a car this fast. You see the TV shows and they say they do it in 7 days. I call bullshit. So here we are, and we're making progress. We'll get it done, and we will see you guys at Grand National Roadster Show come hell or high water. In 3 weeks, we will be there. And then following that, SEMA 2025. So you guys, it is the beginning of 2025, so a happy new year to all of you, and we will see you next week for our next drop, Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next one.